Hello, everybody. Robin here at Toadstool Tarot, and today I'm going to try a challenge from Brian Cormack Carr called hashtag Tarot 5Ws or 5WS. Now, he's got 5 prompts here. They're who, what, when, where, and why. And I'll include all the particulars in the details, or rather in the description below, so you can pick and choose how you wish to respond. I'm going to try to attempt to answer all the questions. So the first prompt is who, and is comprised of your choice of a number. All these are comprised of a choice of various responses. So for who, the first one is who first turned you on to tarot? That's difficult for me to answer. I think it was more something I discovered in a head shop in a little town called New Hope, Pennsylvania, which was my first home away from home. It was a little sort of a hippie town with little boutiques, and I had seen tarot as this sort of mystical thing that I'd heard about somewhere and didn't really know much about, but the mystery of it intrigued me, and so I bought a deck and tried to check it out. Second part here, who's your favorite tarot author? I'm not really sure I have a favorite, although at the moment I'm rereading the open reading by Yoav Bendov, whom I believe I discovered through a film called Tarology, starring Enrique Enriquez, which talked about open style reading and really kind of blew the idea of tarot study wide open for me. I liked the way Bendov writes about it in his book, and it is more focused on Marseille style tarot, and I tend to be more Rider-Waite-Smith style, but I like the way he writes. It's really accessible and readable. Who's your favorite deck creator? That's a tough one. The easiest answer is probably Rider-Waite-Smith. And the favorite character from the Rider-Waite-Smith is the Three of Wands. It's my significator card. Now, I don't know if I'm skipping ahead here. I tend to be drawn towards the major arcana, and I don't have one card that I'm drawn to in the major arcana. I'm drawn to 3, which are the Fool, the Magician, and the Hermit. And there are elements of my personality incorporated in all 3 cards. But I believe if you coalesce these 3 into a single card, it would be, for me, the Three of Wands. Someone on an adventure, someone with the skills to accomplish things, manifest things, move forward, and 3 sort of doing it alone, doing it in solitude. I love the fact that the image here is facing away from us. We can't see their expression. We don't know what he's thinking, but he's planning on what he wishes to manifest next on his journey. I don't know why I was drawn to this card initially. I don't know if it was a subconscious thing or if it was the colors in the card. I don't know. But I really just love this card and identify with it. And if I go back to the majors, then I have to pull 3 cards that I identify with. When I went to create my own first deck, the Open Face Tarot, I did a majors only deck. And that's one that I use the most often. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So anyway, I've covered prompt number 1. Number 2, what? What do you most love about tarot? For me, I most love that it is always somewhere to turn to when I'm conflicted about something or when I need some sort of guidance. I don't use it predictively, but I'm intrigued by the fact that it often does predict things, and I use it as a sort of a reference guidepost to where to go next, what to do next, how to proceed. Those are the things I love about tarot. It always gives me an answer in terms of some manner of guidance, and I can get that in the majors without having to rely on the minors. What's your currently most used deck? Probably the one that I created, the Open Face Tarot. I have shown this countless times on my channel. I carry it with me always in my shoulder bag. It's silly, simple little illustrations, but no titles. I know the majors now. They work for me. These simple little drawings that I channeled give me all the guidance that I need. It's just a deck that works for me. And I mean, I can use pretty much any deck, but that's the one that is always within arm's reach. And I generally carry 5 decks in my shoulder bag when I go out anywhere, but they're sort of in rotation, and many of them come and go depending on where I'm drawn at the moment, what the latest deck I've acquired is that I'm getting use out of, and they sort of cycle out of the bag depending on lesser use and are replaced by new ones. So that's constantly changing, but the Open Face never leaves the bag. What's your favorite tarot tool or technique? I like to do 3-card spreads, and I like to do multiples of them. Like I said, I carry 5 decks. I will do a 3-card spread in all 5 decks that happen to be with me in my bag at any given moment. And I get 5 perspectives on what I need to know or need to hear. Number 3, when? When did you first encounter tarot? First encountered it probably in the 70s or early to mid 80s, somewhere in there. When did you first start to take tarot seriously, and when did you last have a significant tarot experience? I tried to learn tarot a number of times when I first got it, and I had the stumbling block of reading the little white book that came with it, penned by Arthur Edward Waite, the sort of man behind the original tarot. And somewhere in the notes that were taken from his book, I think The Key to the Tarot, even though the keywords and phrases and meanings were utterly confusing, there was a sentence in there, something to the effect of, the tarot is all in the images, or it's all in the symbols, something to that effect. And at some point in the late 90s, I just decided, after having cast the deck aside half a dozen times because it made no sense to me, that I was just going to throw the little white book aside and just look at the images. And then they started to make sense. And so that's when I started to take it seriously. And I guess significant tarot experience is probably when I finally decided to create my own deck. And I recommend that to everybody as something to do, a little bit of homework. Try to create your own deck, because not for everybody else, but for yourself, you learn so much about tarot in trying to create each card and think about what each one means to you and what to put into it and what to leave out, what it needs to communicate to you. So it's a great learning exercise. Number 4, where were you when you did your first serious reading? I can't remember, probably here at home. Where do you carry out readings and tarot practices now? I have a new favorite cafe around the corner from me, and I go there 2 or 3 times a week, take all my decks with me, and I always, after ordering my coffee, sit at a table and pull out the decks one by one and do 5 3-card spreads to see what the day has in store for me. So that's something I do with regularity. Where do you store your decks? They're on various shelves around the house, although I sort of share my bed with a pile of trays that decks are sorted on, and so I always have decks within reach. And they're all in either boxes, tins, or bags. Number 5, why? Why do you love tarot? I love the unpredictability of it. I love the mystery or mystique of it. I love the intrigue involved in the unknowable, of opening up aspects of thinking that I generally don't delve into, and it's a great tool to help me with that. Why do you continue to study tarot? Because the more I study it, the longer I study it, the more I see in the symbols and the images. It's not just a handful of symbols. They are constantly changing, and they're constantly tweaking different parts of my brain and stimulating it in a way to find new things. It amazes me that even though I've looked at the same deck dozens, hundreds of times, I still will look at it and find things in it for the first time that I never noticed before. And this is another thing I recommend to people to try to go about teaching tarot to others, because in order to explain it to different people, you have to kind of contextualize it and figure out the proper words to use to translate what it's all about for other people. And in doing so, you get feedback from them that teaches you even more about the tarot than you're teaching them. So I think that's a great thing to do. Why do you think tarot is important and or helpful? Well, I think I sort of covered that, really. It's a tool to open your mind, to guide you. It's a guidance system. It's a moral compass for me. It's a book of balance. All life for me is sort of a balance, pretty much a binary system. It's all numbers, zeros and ones. It's all yeses and nos, black and white. There are varying degrees between there, but pretty much everything we do or don't do is in relation to one another or connection to one another. And I find that when I get too much off course in one direction or another, tarot centers me. It brings me back to the center and helps me focus in a way that is helpful to me and beneficial. It resets me on the right course. So it's kind of my alternative to religion, or if you will, it's sort of the crux of religion about the golden rule, or finding some sort of spiritual guidance that's already within us, but occasionally needs to be pointed out or called attention to again. So that covers it for me, I think, in my own sort of bumbling, fumbling manner, and I hope this helps, and maybe you've got something out of this, or maybe not, but I encourage you to attempt to tackle this challenge. See you all again soon.